Hey guys! Hello people of the neighborhood. I need to stop doing that because it really just makes me sound stupid, but... So in case you guys haven't noticed, I got my braces off. I have a retainer in right now. Oh god, that was gross. I'm sorry that you had to see that. I might take it out because it does give me kind of a lisp when I talk. So as you may or may not know, it is back to school week here on the neighborhood. And we have had a few people miss some days, but no worries. I am here to stay. You know, I haven't missed a day. That rhymed. So since it is back to school week, I decided to give you guys tips on surviving middle school. I had to do middle school because little baby me has only been through middle school. Well, I've been through elementary school, but my only tips for that is don't steal another kid's crayons and don't fart during story time. Take this from someone with experience. I do feel as though I have some good tips for middle school, even though everyone's school isn't the same. I tried to come up with some tips that would work for all middle schools. Now I don't have that many tips, but that was a lisp. I don't have that many tips because I really just I love to ramble and talk about the same thing for like an hour. So I narrowed it down to 5 tips, I guess, and that's not a lot, but I'm going to be talking in depth about each one. With one tip kind of comes a bunch of little tips, so what am I doing? I don't know. So let's just get started before I get really weird. Okay, tip number 1. When you are going school supply shopping, you need to get very lightweight things. I remember when I was going into middle school in 6th grade, my school always gave us a list every year of the stuff we would need for that grade. And my list for 6th grade said that I needed a humongous fat 3-inch binder for each of my classes. Of course, since I was a little 6th grader me, I thought that, you know, I had to get that stuff and that would be the best solution for me, obviously, because they wouldn't recommend those binders if they didn't think they were the best. And I got a bunch of 3-inch binders. They were tremendously huge and there was always so much room left over in them and it was crazy. I couldn't even fit all of them in my locker because our lockers were really thin. I had to bring like 5 shopping bags to school every day, 1 for each binder, because you couldn't fit them in your backpack. Eventually, towards the end of the year, I was able to fit all of my classes into one of those 3-inch binders, and that made my life so much easier. For 6th grade, maybe it is a good idea to follow what they tell you to get, because maybe it's just my school that's really crazy and they don't give correct lists. For 6th grade, you might want to keep it safe by getting what they tell you to get. And then once you realize that that system isn't working for you, then make your own system. It's not like they're gonna hurt you or tell you that, like, no, you can't do that. I mean, unless you have a really strict school. I don't know what you guys' schools are like, but at least in my school, you're allowed to make your own system. Another thing about picking out binders, one thing that I always found extremely helpful, and I did it every single year, was I got a homework binder. Now, maybe your school provides like a homework folder for you, I don't really know. My school doesn't, they provide a planner, but that's it. But basically my school would tell us that we needed to get a little divider and put that in each of our binders, and that divider would be called homework. So your homework would be in that spot of your binder for that class. This was really annoying, especially with those stupid 3-inch binders, because if I had homework in math and science on the same night, then I would have to bring my math and science binder home. This just didn't work for me because even the 1-inch binders, I couldn't fit all of them in my backpack, so I just made my own homework binder, and I just got a little 1/2-inch, not even 1-inch, a 1/2-inch binder, and I used that for my homework, and it worked out great. Like, that's just what you gotta do. My second tip is gonna sound kind of cheesy because it's kind of something that your mom and your dad would tell you and your teachers when you first go to school. And this tip is simply to make friends. Now, you might already have friends. I already had friends going into middle school. I didn't have a lot because I was one of those kids that just kind of liked to stay with my tight group of friends. But once I got to middle school, when I didn't have a lot of classes with my tight friends, you know, you don't want to be that loner sitting alone in class not talking to anybody, so make some friends. I mean, it's not gonna kill you. I always thought that I was one of those people that didn't want to make friends. I just wanted to stay with the friends that I had at the moment, and I did not want to make any more friends. That sounds really antisocial, but that's how I was. And so I was very antisocial for a long time, and I didn't have any friends in my classes. And that's no fun. The upside to that, at least, is that you aren't distracted and you get your work done, but that's not important. Last year in 8th grade, I did not have any friends in my classes, and it was really difficult and boring all the time, so I made tons of more friends. And honestly, it's really great now because now I'm like stressing about who I'm gonna invite to my birthday party because I'm like, oh my god, I'm friends with this person and this person and this person, what do I do? My birthday is September 28th, by the way, in case you were wondering. But of course, if you do have friends in your classes, that's good too, and you really don't have to make friends, but you also don't want to be that really mean person where like if somebody tries to make friends with you, you just kind of like, get away from me. Tip number 3 is plan your lunch situation. I was really lispy there. Plan your lunch situation. Crap. By this, I mean you need to figure out what your school is like as far as lunch goes. I know that in 6th grade, the lines were terrifyingly huge in my school for 6th grade lunch, and it was only for 6th grade lunch because in 6th grade everyone's like, oh my god, new school, gotta try the new food, it's gonna be so much better. But you just gotta let that slide, just don't think about it. Bring a lunch in 6th grade on your first day, and then see what the lunch situation is like. See if you have humongous lines like I did. I think a lot of schools have that issue too because that's just a 6th grade thing. And if the lines are huge, then you'll be happy that you brought a lunch because you won't be starving like the kids that waited in line for 20 minutes. And if your lines aren't terrifyingly horrible, then skip your lunch and go get in that line. I mean, I really don't like the food that I have at home. I don't want to bring that to school, but you can spare one day to at least figure out what you gotta do. In 6th grade, I did not do this. I was like, I am trying this new food. This is my school. This is my food. And I'm gonna eat it like it's nobody's business. And I was waiting in line every day for like 40 minutes and had 2 minutes to eat my lunch. So I was one of those 6th graders that sprinted to lunch every day because I wanted to eat my food. I was able to get my lunch every day and not have to deal with stupid peanut butter sandwiches from home. One tip that I do have if you want to be one of those sprinters is that while everybody's putting their binders away, like running to their locker, put their binders away, and then run to lunch, I recommend that you run straight there. Don't even put your binders away, take your binders with you and just go for it. That's what I did, and I was literally first in line every day. Tip number 4 is don't overbook yourself. Basically, middle school, I'm sure you can all guess, is going to have a tremendous more amount of homework than you would have in elementary school. It's the biggest transition you'll ever have. Middle school is what's preparing you for high school. Think about it that way. Now for 6th grade, it's not too bad because they know like, oh, you're used to your homework being like connect the dots and color the turkey, but for 7th and 8th grade, I definitely recommend having an open schedule. I know that you love your after school activities and like, oh, it's so much fun, I want to do sports, I want to do theater, but sometimes you gotta think about when you're gonna sit down and do your homework. I know I sound like your mom, like lecturing you, like you gotta do your homework before snack, or you know, all that house rules you have about homework. I don't really have any house rules because my mom trusts me to get it done. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that I am a huge theater geek. I do all the shows I possibly can, and so whenever I had a show going on in middle school, I was staying up every night really late trying to get homework done. I'm being a complete hypocrite right now because I literally have to have a dance class like every day this year. But tip number 5 is get to know your schedule. This is going to be really helpful if you guys do have lockers. Sometimes my locker was actually close enough to my classes that I just went to my locker between every period. But sometimes, especially in 6th grade, my 6th grade classrooms were all the way on the opposite side, so all of my specials would be on this side of the school and all my core classes would be on this side of the school. And it was a big school to run through. I would be carrying all of my binders so that I wouldn't have to go to my locker. Just knowing your schedule really helps you not be late to your classes. Of course, for the first few weeks, they're gonna be pretty lenient. They're not gonna really mind that much if you're late. Of course, if you're like 20 minutes late, then they're gonna be like, where were you? Like, but if you're a few minutes late, you know, that's okay. You probably got lost or you didn't know what class you had. I went to the wrong class a few times. Just know your schedule if you can, memorize it. That's awesome. And then work out some sort of schedule for yourself, like a personal schedule of when you're gonna go to your locker and what binders you're gonna bring with you to which class, and it'll just make your life a whole lot easier. So those are my tips on surviving middle school. It wasn't a lot of tips, but I gave you a lot of information about those tips because I'm a rambler. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Sorry if it wasn't. I'm not exactly the best advice giver, and I guess I could update you guys on high school sometime, let you know any high school tips if that's what you're looking for. And just so you guys know, I am uploading more on my main channel now, so if you could go subscribe to my main channel, that would be awesome. It's down below. I actually just changed the name. The name was Believe in Ditto, but I changed it just to Sydney because I could not bear Believe in Ditto to continue being my name. Kinda copied Marty. Sorry, Marty. Love you, but I just couldn't think of anything else. I just wanted something simple, and go follow me on Instagram, sydney.yt. Just so you guys know, I'm very active on Instagram. I'm not posting all the time, but if you guys tag me in a photo or make a photo of me, I will always see it. Like, I love it when you guys do that stuff, and I will like it, and I will follow whoever made it, and I just love you guys dearly, so feel free to do that stuff. And I will see you next time on The Neighborhood next Saturday. Bye!